hinting, I guess. We have the Shy and Rookie in some of their best years.
Their peak years,
Ning, finals MVP for a reason, plus there's just some great games. Then there's Baolan. Now tell me, how is Baolan the best player on that roster?
Hey, man. He's vibing.
That's
you know?
right.
Sometimes you just get to kick your legs up and get a world championship
Oh, I can do that.
for doing the base.
Oh, apart from the world championship bit.
All right, we're into draft, and I
Yep.
think the immediate focus has to be that we almost got 6 jungle bans. Ultra Prime really
True.
focusing on Shun's, sort of comfort champion pool, as well as the Elise banned away. And on the opposite side, BLG banning very common red side bans plus that Sejuani, and it leaves up the Caitlyn. The Varus is also available. It really depends on what Ultra Prime are looking to do, but also if so many jungle bans, you have to imagine that the jungle picks are going to be quite quick to be snapped up. But Ultra Prime will go ahead and get their hands on the Rise, which is something we didn't see anything from in the previous series. So curious to see how Ching and Ultra Prime will utilize this pick.
Not his most played. Syndra actually is most played, but opts in for this instead. As last series, we did see the Jax ban quite heavily. Ben's going to be taking that away for his third time as we are just slicing through these pick bans with Caitlyn showing us in 13.3. It is just going to give one of the strongest lanes. As for BLG, it does mean they give away something like the support, as Ultra Prime have the chance to pick it now. But this is just strange. There's Kennen. I mean, there's no jungle or AD priority here. They're like, okay, let's give Ning Lease in, which during that World Championship was insane too. But bottom lane is just forfeit from Ultra Prime.
Yeah, so they're willing to give up a couple more ADC picks. I think because there's honestly not any AD bans, right? Zeri, Lucian, both up. Those will likely be banned away. Varus as well. So with 3 strong ADCs up and available, I think the gambit here from Ultra Prime is just to say, we feel like we're always going to get a strong ADC and potentially even a decent support matchup, with BLG now blinding that support and leaving their jungle to the next pick. BLG will have a very strong duo. Ultra Prime will be able to get 2 direct counters, and Ultra Prime will be able to snap away some of these more meta picks available from Shun. Expect to see something like the Vi removed away, and probably the Wukong, and we'll see where Shun goes from there. On the opposite side, BLG take away the Varus, and then it's really going to be a toss-up, I imagine, between Zeri and Lucian. Azir actually banned away from Ultra Prime. Kind of surprised at that mid lane focus.
Oh, it's interesting. I mean, Yagao, though, maybe be looking at something a bit more promising, right? Like, as Syndra has said before, things like the Jace here, Jamada, we've seen today heavily and through 13.3 so far. Talia, Yagao is known for over the years as well. Like his Galio, like there are things that into the Rise we can see match quite nicely. So they've now only got limited options as Ultra Prime. Do they continue to commit to the mid lane bans?
Yeah, that's my biggest question is, will we just get another mid lane ban? Something like Galio is a nice call out just because you could set yourselves up for a very strong 2v2 in the mid jungle, right? Galio for setup and then Shun on a damage carry. Not very uncommon to see a situation like that. Yagao very happy to take the back seat in the carry department and pick up utility picks quite frequently when the time calls for it. And Ultra Prime, they get the read as well. They say, you know what?
Good call.
We're not going to deal with it. And with Jax already being there for a side lane threat as well, having something like the Galio to pack that up and support it globally is just something it seemes like Ultra Prime not willing to deal with here in this setup. It does allow BLG to still pick up a very strong jungler, something like, again, the Wukong, the Vi. These are some of Shun's most played champions this split. Unsurprisingly, they are meta. And BLG will take up the former or out of that and lock themselves in the Vi, so they have that consistent form of hard engage.
And give Yagao a closer look as to what he's going to run in for the rest of the comp as well, because I feel like that's going to really define what he gets in this final red side 5th pick. Ultra Prime so far this comp, not speaking to what we know so far. It's just a very different angle. But now we have to cement that bottom lane. Doggo and Baolan. We're talking about these bottom lanes of both teams having very big champion pools. They just go back to Lucian Nami.
Yeah, I mean, pretty sure it's their most played off the top of my head. Though I actually could be thinking about, it's actually the other way around. It's Elk and On's most played duo, Nami and Lucian. So interesting to see that Doggo and Baolan will go into this matchup. It's,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is considered technically a counter matchup, not like the Caitlyn and Lux. It's kind of hard to just lane 2v2 and do what you would like, because you can always get very consistent disengages from the side of the Caitlyn Lux lane. We'll see how it ends up playing out, because at the end of the day, you know, theoretical counters only mean so much. It's about how execution lies in a lot of these early game lane bully and bursty 2v2s. Speaking of burst, Yagao locked in the Syndra, so that's going to be a very, very hard to deal with 2v2 in the mid lane and jungle from BLG. 2 point-and-click ultimates, which are just going to lock you down and blow you up.
So straight away, BLG lanes here. Jamada, like, that's, I think it's a cause for concern considering that BLG, this just looks favorable for them to run over the early game and make sure that Ultra Prime can't really team fight.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing for me, right? I think when you look at those BLG mid and bottom side matchups, it's pretty them favored. So I consider for Ultra Prime to look more towards the one item, and I think that's kind of been the case. The ever-evolving mystery that is Nami Lucian, and very often not winning games. It feels like often they'll lose in the laning phase, and then, you know, maybe have a little bit of pressure if they're, you know, in a really good matchup, but then it's about that Gale Force, Dirk, and then the Mandate Spike, right? That's when you really blow someone up in the mid game. That's when you start to take over in pressure. And then, of course, even though we don't see the pick very often, Kennen can break games with one strong ultimate, so always keep your eyes on Harry for the flanks.
But against the Syndra, I'm always worried because Syndra's range has stymied so many LPL, I was going to say Kennens before. Well, it would be so much. Imagine his name, right? Just one day changes it to Kevin, doesn't tell anyone.
If Kennen's doing bad, it's Kevin. It's not Kennen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like how, do you remember Lee Song back in the day? Like, if Lee Sin was doing bad, it used to be Lee Song. Because, I don't know,
I don't remember that at all. No,
know that well, I think it was more to do with, at one point, Lee's W had, like, really ridiculous AP scalings, or something really silly like that. So they tied it to that, and then eventually it just got tied to being bad at Lee Sin, or having a bad Lee Sin games. Instead of Lee Sin, it'll be Lee Song.
Surely we have more.
I think that's the map. I'm pretty sure there's more, but I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, I don't know. Every time I just keep thinking the one is Lulu, but it's just in her name. And every time Lulu does bad, it's just, I feel like it's Lolu, but it's already in the name. It doesn't work. Anyway, if I remember one, I'll let you all know. But we talked about lanes for BLG being a priority here. Mid and bot, Jamada said, if they come out with a lead, it just does feel like we're going to give BLG the edges. What did we see, bot? What happened? Nice. Oh my God, On landed an ability.
Yeah, On. Does he have mana flow? That's the important thing, right? Mana flow stack. Of course. Very early on, that was an E, but the Q hits, so they're winning the level 1 trade for now. And of course, the range advantage definitely lends over to BLG. And for Doggo and Baolan, it's more about, you know, getting really strong level 3 trades onwards, doing your best to kind of get as bursty a trade in without having much recourse found from BLG. That's how you really get positive trades here when you're dealing with the range deficit. But it does look like level 2 will be hit by BLG here first, so Ultra Prime, they're going to have to respect that.
As expected, Bin doing the same up on the top side. Harry just getting a reverse trade and doing a good job onto Bin. We've seen this Jax again in similar matchup here. So we'll keep bated breath, or rather an eye up there as Ning's going to get spotted on the ward. As he rotates through, Tribush on the bottom side, has to walk all the way up. Or maybe he's setting up for the invade. I'm curious because in comes for the mid game. Scalaway doesn't connect though. And Shun can't find an entrance. Unfortunately, Yagao just doesn't hit the spell.
Yeah, not for now. So nothing's going to get blown. But you can already start to see the pressure and the threat from that 2v2 even in the early stages. Scour the weak into Vaiku. You'd be surprised sometimes how much burst can come out from a Vi. As we pan towards the top side. Unfortunately, Bin isn't able to crash this wave, and with the health deficit he's in, feels a little bit pressured. He does have a health pot. He likely has things like second win in Druid Page to soak up some of the poke damage, but doesn't want to overstep because he knows Ning is on the top side.
Yeah, he did. He saw that Warden Tri-Brush, knows Ning's pathing up, as you stated. Shun's going to be coming down bot on a ward yet again as well. And as Shun pushes in, I mean, he's just continuing to stand in front of this turret. Demolish helps out, and obviously that was, I believe was that On picking that up? Because that definitely wasn't Shun.
Elk has Demolish because he has Boneplate.
Does he?
Elk, yeah, Elk has Boneplate.
Oh, okay. So
that's,
yeah, very good point.
That's a really nice optimization, because the thing with Caitlyn lanes is usually you want to try and break the tower as soon as you can a lot of the time. I think the most efficient way usually is just to get as many plates off the tower as you can and move the Caitlyn around and use that as a source of pressure to then start picking up neutral objectives. So the fact that you're into Nami Lucian gives you the opportunity to go resolve secondary because you want bone play. Might as well take Demolish as well. So if they can continue to poke in Baolan and Doggo, expect that they will actually strip away those plays quite quickly with that little rune addition from really nice.
Already a 10 CS lead, and you can see downriver, they've given full vision priority here to both Elk and On. Wards line through as Ching starts moving down, and especially that level 6 rise, they're going to have full information about when he starts moving down and trying to influence that lane as Light Binding does connect, exhaust down the bottom lane, but Ning's coming in for a gank. However, there's a counter response here as Elk runs on in, Ning's there, and he's just found out. Sonic Wave to get him out, but the flash there. Elk going forward, headshot, and they get him. On expends the flash too, and first blood is gained.
And Shun can move even further forward because he's still got flash and he's got a full health bar to work with. Gonna force Doggo all the way out. Won't actually go for the dive further play itself. Knows you can get CC'd up on the tower, but the damage is already done. I mean, the CS lead is already double that for Elk and On, and look at this massive minion wave being missed by Doggo and Baolan. This is a huge lead, and yeah, it's just a really solid read from Shun. To be honest with you, the 2v2 ensues, and Ning is trying to capitalize. Definitely expect that from Ultra Prime, and it just feels like it's a little bit too telegraphed, unfortunately. Shun interrupts the safeguard. Q comes through in the flash, and even though the headshot damage doesn't quite finish off the kill, it's a nice heal from Baolan. What does is that Light Lightning, and On picks up first blood.
Really nice from the duo of BLG, and you know, we were saying before the break, bit of a lead. It's a BF sword. It's like the olden days, like season 4.
God.
You know, the amount of damage coming out of Elk already is what's with the -1.
-1 in chat. You know what to do. You
Again.
know what to do.
It's like
tough.
10th time today as cannons are not getting the respect they deserve. But Ning trying to give respect to the bottom lane, get something back here. Baolan and Doggo trying to lure them in, but their wave is pushing against Elk and On.
Yeah, see, you know, the alarm bells are ringing for Ultra Prime. They know they have to try and shut down this lane. That wave was actually technically broken, so I think it's going to slow push back into Ultra Prime. Ning steals that. Not bad. But the problem is, the bot lane is at such a deficit that now Shun knows where Ning is. He can just sit here until he knows that Ning leaves. So there can be no more interjection, realistically, from the side of Ultra Prime.
Elk and On still giving respect, however, though. At the very least, Ching's moving down bot. Realm Warp there.
They know they have to stop it.
It's literally like Elk and On are just like, well, it's 5 for the time being. There's the Realm Warp. Elk is going to net out. Remember, the summoners were burned. They're all in onto On. He's just about to die. They need an auto, but Ching can't get it. He steps on a trap as he gets out. The turret ramp up was brutal, and Elk just gets a freebie.
Oh no, hysterics. It's a complete disaster. I don't know what else to say. I mean, you can see for so long Ultra Prime wanted that play, and they wanted to just try and put Elk in an uncomfortable position. But now Shun's here, and very least Baolan's going to die.
He flashed as well. Elk is not going to get the kill, but Shun's going to have the Vault Breaker. Doesn't wait for it, flashes instead. Another kill. Another one bites the dust. 3-0 start. BLG almost up 3,000 gold at 8 minutes in the game.
Yeah, and if I had to wager a guess, a majority of that 3,000 gold lead or 2,500 gold lead is just coming from Elk directly onto Doggo.
Yeah.
Elk? I mean, Ning has level 6.
Okay,
so
well, Elk should be dead, right? Kick back, and the only problem is whether he can take Doggo out with him, but the answer is no. So Ning at least getting a response as the overpush for Demolish is a plate for a kill.
Yeah, plate for a kill. What I think would actually be quite smart right now, though, is if Elk could maybe open out onto the top side alongside On. You can see us roaming up. I guess he might have to just go back to bot to catch the wave. And either way, it seems like the priority lies in wait for BLG. They'll get that Herald, I think, with all the overextensions on the bottom side. So Elk can go back down here. Looking at the replay, though, On about gets away. And like you said, the turret ramp... Oh, my mic decided to go up towards my face. Yeah, the turret ramp was just brutal, and whilst this is all going on, this massive minion wave was also being missed, so it's just a huge amount of resources across the board being missed out, and overutilized by Ultra Prime in terms of their own, but the minion wave also going against them. It just feels bad.
Yeah, so even though we see Ning come down to the bottom lane and get the response kill, still that CS lead exists. There's still a Bloodthirster coming first here from Elk. It's not the only lane doing well, as mid has a bit of a CS advantage. We'll say on the other side, though, Ultra Prime have at least a top lane. Harry, 20 CS in the range versus melee matchup. At least they have one lane who is a little bit more reliable.
Yeah, and hey, you know, at the end of the day, Kevin can always, you know, just one ultimate's all it takes, and you will win a huge amount of it on occasion. I remember, I think it was around a year and a half ago, it kind of just reared its head in the LEC, and it just became meta for some reason. Like, Kennen was just strong. There was no reason for it. I don't even think it got nerfed. True. I think it just left.
Everything else got weaker.
Yeah. It just came and went. And Kennen still does the exact same thing. And there isn't really, you know, there's not much to stop it. It's a light binding, scatter weak, Viol technically, I guess, but, you know, it's only going to stop it from moving very briefly. The ultimate's still going to go off. So BLG, they're always going to have to track Harry on this Kennen. And like you say, getting a pretty sizable lead 1-to-1 in the top side, for now Bin being put a little bit behind, means that Harry will be able to hit those iron spikes faster. And as long as Ultra Prime stop hemorrhaging gold, Hysterics, for the time being, I think they could be in for an okay shot once a couple of these first items do come in.
Well, look, First Dragon is not going to make things okay, though, because BLG will be able to team when they want Ultra Prime to take the fight. But at the very least, it's a late First Dragon here with Herald being taken by Shun as well. So we're going to see where he puts that, where he can open up the map. Bot is already kind of dead with only one plate left standing. So many other options in lanes as Shun will be kept a close eye on. Gold on our screen, and that's what we were waiting for. 1,000, just about the lead here in the bottom lane. And surprisingly, about 800 gold, 800 gold for Yagao over Ching.
Yeah, Yagao getting a pretty sizable CS lead. I'm not entirely sure why it's that big. Has he got 2 plates in the mid lane? I think that reads 3, right? Yeah, there it is. Plus, you have to factor in Ching also missed that huge wave on that roam bot where he died. Yep. So, the maths adds up. And now you see Shun on Yagao. They're all here in the mid lane because this tower's at 3 plates. Herald looks very likely they'll try and strip away a couple more so they can get some more gold into the back pocket of Yagao.
Might play a little bit hard though with Ching being able to clear out the rest. That Herald charge takes it down to 1 as you're talking about, as BLG just used the map movement to set up for another potential dive to the bottom lane. Love this as Ning and Harry are going to try and topside as ulti going to be burned but kicked against the wall. Bin flashes but to no avail. Harry tanks up the last shot and a nice, well-executed dive from Ultra Prime.
Yeah, nice counter punch. They definitely needed it, but speaking of counter punches, Baolan
goodbye. Dead. Rip the ulti out, and Shun with a great combo in that mid-jungle combination that we wanted to see. And meanwhile, Elk and On are just going to get first turret blood at 12 minutes.
Yep, exactly. And what Yagao and Shun just did to Baolan, they can do it to anyone on the side of Ultra Prime. For a very, very long time, it should result in a death. And at the absolute minimum, a couple of summoner spells being blown as top side. Looks like Ning and Harry actually got a fair amount of plates off the back of that play as well. Additional one, as well as Bin also missing the wave. So Rocket Belt comes in. So Harry has that first item. And again, that's going to be the, you know, the turning factor potentially for Ultra Prime. Even though they are down several thousand gold, and Elk is significantly further ahead up on Doggo, who actually, Elk's on Bloodthirster first. I actually really like that adaptation.
Yeah.
Just to speak on it for a sec. You know, the whole point of Nami Lucian is to kind of dash in, get your full combo out, and at the very least, if you're not killing the target, right, overkilling the target, you're chunking them out so severely that they just can't participate in the fight. With the Bloodthirster adaptation, you get the overheal shield, but not only that, if you don't die to the combo, as long as you're able to gain access to another minion wave or a jungle camp, you can heal right back up. So I really love that from Elk. It's not necessarily the, you know, packing punch power as a Gale Force or a Kraken Slayer, but it's going to keep him alive against these combos.
It's going to require a lot more. Good bring up though, because the BT shield you can already see stacking up. It's taking a little bit of a punch, but Doggo unable to penetrate it just yet. So we've seen a pretty solid start, and a 30 CS start for Elk means He's probably going to be heading towards the second item mighty soon. As we approach the 14-minute mark, 3K still is where BLG stands in this first game. Dragon up in a minute 30, and BLG trying to get yet another turret. It won't be pre-14, but it still will be going to Elk. That's good gold in his back pocket. And that's just showing that BLG have more than early control of this Game 1.
Yeah, definitely so. It really feels like the only thing Ultra Prime can take a swing at BLG with is potentially this cannon and maybe a good kick from Ning on a high-value target. If he can find Yagao or Elk, then maybe in the next couple of team fights, when these two inevitably butt heads, Ultra Prime can find some success. But for now, the first items are in for just about everybody on BLG, with the exception of Bin. Still searching for that Divine Thunder up, but Cleaver, Ludens, Bloodthirster, as always spoke about that really interesting adaptation, all available for BLG. So they should be ready to fight, whether it's for this Herald, which is just spawned up, or that Dragon in 30 seconds time.
Dude, no wonder Ben doesn't have his first item. He's 50 CS behind. Harry has destroyed him in this lane as great scout of the week as Ching is able to get out. Mercury Treads, I think, saved his life. And that On doesn't hit the light binding.
Absolutely. He is very happy he purchased those Merc Treads right now, otherwise he'd be staring at a grey screen. And Shun will secure this Herald as BLG return back to the mid lane. Get a little bit of poke onto Ultra Prime, but they'll still be able to clear the way of BLG. They won't have first move to this Dragon, and they could even consider giving out for the topside tower if they want to trade that across the map, which I feel like would be the stronger call right now. We'll see what they do in the extended sequence of play. But Ultra Prime, they should get this Dragon, and Bin looks like he's actually going to yield that bottom side tower. So it's Dragon, tower on the bottom side, tower on the top side looks like it's going to be traded, and Herald here in the mid lane could mean it's a 2-tower trade across the map.
Especially with this Caitlyn that has demolished. Elk, here it comes, might not even need it. Yeah.
Wait, that's so funny.
Thing.
She has, her base range is so high that she can't actually get in range to proc demolish. She has to skim her range off a little bit.
God,
but still
even eventually.
Eventually.
Doesn't need it in the end either. Like, the turrets are just going down so quick as we're about to get that Gale Force coming through for Elk very, very soon. He was able to get in a turret through mid lane. That was the 4th turret for BLG in these first 15 minutes as well. And gold just moves up. We're close to about 4,000 now as we're getting a fight down here on the bottom side. Ning's just dead. Not sure how that happened. I think he tried to invade after the Dragon, but a minute afterwards, BLG were here.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why he's there, Hysterics. I'll be honest with you. There's not really anything on that side of the map to fight for, so feels like a bit of a nothing there. At the end of the day, there's nothing on the map, but what it does do is give BLG the opportunity to move forward on the bottom side, secure a lot of vision, give Yagao a little more confidence to step up on those bottom waves, as well as, of course, Elk to do the exact same thing in the mid lane.
Been chasing down Ching, but he needs to get in range of that ulti. He's going to bop him a little bit more, realm warp out. Ching just survives. Shun is looking for his re-entrance point, but he's not going to find it. Shun is fast, man.
Yeah, quite speedy. He's not even the one with the knap grip.
He wasn't.
Okay, so what does he take the Hex Gate? He takes the Hex Gate, doesn't he? Okay, brother Ning.
They weren't there. They weren't there last time he played League, man. You can't blame him.
You saw it on the wall. It's like everyone in preseason when they introduced it. Yo, what does this do? Oh no, I'm dying! Like it's just, it's immediate.
The amount of Hex Gates usage we've seen, like in late game team fights that have ruined games. I think Bin has been one of those players as well that's been kind of crazy with the usage. As you know, Ning, unfortunate Hex Gate, but look, it didn't lead to losing at the Dragon. They still found that, but Ning not caught out again. He just run in, able to shadow Ultra Prime, get this top lane turret, and get some more gold back in their pocket here in this mid game.
Yeah, he loses half his health for Ultra Prime to get that tower in the top side. Elk, however, is here with On, and he's got the support of Shun in the wings if he needs it. Still more off screen at the Raptors right now, giving a little bit of coverage to Yagao at the same time, but this siege is going on. Might even get the demolished proc. He doesn't want to step too far up.
It will now, though. You can see as you as you mentioned, just too far away. But there's another wave coming in momentarily. BLG still control the space, and all the vision of Ultra Primes is getting shorter and shorter. It's just so oppressive right now, Jamato. They can't step up because Elk is near one-shot territory if you step on a trap.
Yeah, exactly. Elk, I mean, even if he gets chunked out here again, you know, the Bloodthirst, the first pickup, means that off the back of this wave, he's going to be full HP very quickly. Too. And the red buff, yeah, exactly. Great spot. So Ultra Prime, they find themselves outranged with technically the worst engage tools, not strong disengage tools, and a 5k gold deficit. So you may be wondering, Asterix, how do you come back from this?
Yeah, please.
And I will offer you a 5-man Kennon, maybe.
Okay.
That's the trade-off.
I like that.
I'm not guaranteeing that it's going to happen, but right now, I feel like one of the few ways that Ultra Prime can try and dig their way out of this hole is for Harry to finally show up, maybe get a flank, and effectively just blow up Elk and Yagao. Neither of them have cleanse, so if he does get on top of them and the ultimate's running, they should get stunned up, and that's when you hope that other members of Ultra Prime should be able to pounce and potentially capitalize on a strong ultimate there from Harry. But finally, the siege will pay dividends to Elk. He gets the solo tier 2 towers. That's 600 extra gold in his back pocket.
I think as well, there needs to be other tools that set up the slicing Maelstrom. I mean, Realm Warp for the Cannon to get in position, Ning getting a pick with kick, even Tidal Wave, right? Like, Ultra Prime just seems like getting separated by the massive distances. Ning, hello? Ning, what are you doing, brother?
See,
I'm
not sure if you noticed that when Shun got that kill, he actually got 301 gold instead of 300, which is a bit weird. But I figured it out. It's just that Ning's just also just giving him a little bit of a tip on the side as well.
Yeah.
Kill. Yeah. So, I'm not sure what Ning was doing there. I'm not sure Ning knows what he was doing. But it's going to give BLG the dragon. I'm kind of surprised BLG didn't just pull the trigger and go for the Baron, but I think when you take into consideration that, like you just mentioned, there is a Cannon with 2 items and a Realm Warp potentially to, you know, first-class delivery him into the pit. It's something that BLG don't quite want to deal with just yet, and they'd rather just take the safer option and get that dragon.
Well, they are hovering for this magical pick that we want to talk about, but there's nothing they can find as Dragon goes down. BLG with number 2. It's a Hex Soul, or Hex Soul, excuse me. And in this mid-game, BLG up 6,000 gold. Ning just been caught out, I think, 3 times in a row now. Just don't know what's going on. And it's funny because this was like the Ultra Prime, I think it was versus LGD, which I stand by is the worst series we've seen in the LPL in 2-3 years. Like the most egregious as well.
That was
Ning's job. Right? He died like 15 times, yeah. It was the double Penta series that I was like, dude, what a shame it happened in this game. Absolutely meaningless part of history. People look back at that.
I just remember, I can't remember what, I think I may have been asleep for the series. Oh no, hello, engage, onto Harry.
Well, we're waking up now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yagao though in trouble, Ning, kick back, but no one's there. Yagao flashes over to safety as Harry's ulti works wonders, but Shun recorrects. Doggo now collapsing in as Shun gets a Vault Breaker in, but saved by Elf. He's still alive. Survive on, brother, on blocks as Shun just keeps going. Elk to the rescue, and BLG find their fight that defines Game 1.
Yeah, they do indeed. BLG should be able to get this Baron. Shun is quite low, but he's got the passive shield every now and again, and Slightbin is very happy to tank this one up. And just a really solid engage onto Harry, who's kind of caught out. He's not really looking for a flank or anything like that. He's just the one that's the furthest forward, and Shun pulls the trigger. The follow-up comes through. Ning tries to dissuade Yagao from being able to actually properly get all of his damage into Harry. He does eventually, but unfortunately in doing that, he puts himself in a position to be flashed on. He eventually does die. Play just to cost Yagao his life as Shun steps forward, gets saved by Elk. Much of the extra shielding. It's really good from On and Elk as a duo to keep their jungler alive. And in doing so, they get themselves the Baron.
As Ning thinks he's found another pick again, Dragon's Rage is available, but Flash is not. That last fight, an attempted pick was good, but Your Gal repositions, as you said, Harry was just not in the right angle, and 8,000 gold is suddenly our prospect here for this game as Balan gets good out of prison. Culling's out, we're just going to do some Lucianing as Ning comes in again, but he's interrupted.
Oh my
God.
god.
Timing on that ulti was brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. He buffered the ult, so he just eats the damage, doesn't get displaced. That was sick from Shun. Really honest post thinking there. Saw a similar interaction the other day as well. But away from that, Elk on the top side whilst this is all going on, just chunking away this top side tower. He's going to get the demolished proc on the tower. Doesn't deal as much, just for those wondering. Demolished does actually deal less damage if you're a ranged champion. And it also scales, actually it's either that or I know it scales off of how much health as well. That's the other big factor.
Yeah.
So it doesn't deal much for a long range champion.
I just don't think I've ever seen that because that was short range.
Yeah.
That was a short range vial. Like the buffer in that was so precise.
I think it's just because he knows, right? Once he sees Ning go in on that sonic wave, that he's just trying to eye up the insect, right? So as long as he uses the ultimate, he is always going to buffer that one out as Ching is going to have to go back to base. He doesn't get the lifeline shield proc, but still, he is their main source of wave flip.
Yeah. That rise. If he can't step up to the wave, Elk will keep doing this. Ultra Prime, they're looking confident here. But Harry, again, doesn't have that flash available to use the ulti as Vault Breaker gets wound up and Elk then can step up. Down goes yet another inhib turret here tonight. And for BLG, it's going to be their first one of the series as 10,000 gold here. For this red-sided team, Balan gets chipped as Shun goes in again. He's going to be lit up, but the tidal wave goes into the back line. Ning jumps in yet again, but doesn't press the trigger. And guess what? Doggo's dead. I mean, this is so one-sided. Ning almost dies. As even under turret, Ching is threat for his life. Like, Ultra Prime, this game is just ending on you.
Yeah, they are just getting collapsed on. The walls are closing in. The first inhibitor's already gone. The second one well on its way. Ultra Prime needs to find an answer, and they need to find it quick.
Are we going to get a cannon ult this game in the team fight? We saw one.
And that was barely
That was on one person or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. Should we ask chat at this point? Do you think Twitch chat will know? How's their faith wavering in the ability for Ken and Harry to find one? What I actually want to pull our attention to is how much damage your Gal does to Doggo. That was just with ult! That was just art. He didn't hit another ability. There was just 2 orbs or 3 orbs on the floor. And he died for 1.2.
Oh my god. Well, I think your Gal, he's got the execute on the ulti, obviously, but still, it's just insane. He just pressed R. Oh god. He's pretty fed. He's got 3 items, so it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, that's... What do you do at that point as an AD carry, you know? You just have to suck it up and accept that that's your fate for the game if your Gal ever does that again.
I mean, it's just funny that Ultra Prime opted in for this bottom lane after seeing Caitlyn Lux. You know, Varus was banned away. Normally, we see things like Ezreal come through, right? Jins as well. It was a limited board, but Dogger on Balan went back to this, I guess, 13.1 priority bottom lane that we're just seeing teams ignore completely now, Jamada.
Yeah, and, you know, I think you can, to a degree, understand, you know, potentially the idea around it. You want to just try and fist fight.
I think. I mean, okay, he's going to get out, but meanwhile, Doggo's dead. Did I say Ning was going to get out? Yeah, only just barely, as Shun's now in. Oh, wow. He went all in. It's a dangerous play, is what I would say if Ultra Prime weren't 11,000 gold behind, but he'll just work his way out of there as the last inhib turret is going to fall.
Yeah, they should be able to get both the final inhibs up and available. And to be honest with you, if they find enough damage, they could very well end the game as their super's knocking on the top side of your base. Ultra Prime, Ning's going to answer it, but all 3 inhibitors are gone, and BLG don't have anything. Oh, Elston,
outplayed again.
I think Balan has... No, he doesn't actually. How is he alive? I guess maybe in the first clip, Yagao might have had
What?
first strike. Oh, hello!
There we go, but he's exhausted. He is exhausted. Kennen being exhausted is the outplay button. Meanwhile, over the wall, howdy, partner. Triple stun from Ben. That's all you need, isn't it? This one's over. Red Rover as the triple goes over to the top lane. Give him the quadra, give him the penta. Ning trying to run for his life. Realm Warp will get him out of there as Ben is hungry for gratification. I'm not sure that's the word. Satisfaction is the word I'm looking for, not the player from CSGO in Australia is. Destroyed is Yagao's counterpart, or rather the enemy jungle. Yagao's counterpart sits there standing. Ultra Prime just got hammered in game 1.
Yeah, that was a smash. I feel the same way you do, crowd. That was so one-sided. Yeah, BLG, they just played better, didn't they? There's not really much analysis here. It felt like Ultra Prime didn't have many strong windows to play the game. After